I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. A college professor writes an article supporting the Capitol Hill riots, and now students want him ousted. Joshua Hochschild's recent commentary called Once Upon a Presidency was published in the conservative review American Mind. Hochschild is a philosophy professor at Mount St. Mary's University in Emmitsburg, just north of Frederick. The article infuriated many students on campus, and now a petition is circulating for the professor's removal. Senior Rebecca Lee says it isn't the first time that Hochschild has made controversial remarks.
And in his article, he had supported President Trump and what he was doing and said that it wasn't an issue. Really, it was surprising that it was coming from a professor from the Mount.
Given what this professor's views are and the fact that the university posted it and has now since apologized, what's the next step for the student body that has concerns about this?
The student body, especially students of color, we wanted to feel that they have our best interests and also support us. So right now we are gathering student experiences that we've had of injustices, whether that been from a professor or maybe in residence halls, stuff like that. And we're working towards a positive change. We're not calling out Mount St. Mary's University because we don't like the school, we hate them. We're calling them out at a place of love. And the Mount has done and will continue to do great things, but you need to call out injustice when you see it.
The university initially reposted the article and defended the professor's academic freedom. It has since taken down the article and apologized to students. Well, hearings continue today on the deadly Capitol Hill insurrection. The Senate Homeland Security Committee heard testimony from military and intelligence officials. William Walker, the commanding general of the D.C. National Guard, was questioned about his interaction with Capitol Police. Walker says he had several conversations with former Chief Stephen Son before the riots and that Son was restricted in asking for help.
So on Sunday, I asked him, are you going to request DC National Guard help? And if you do, I need it in writing. It has to be formal because the Secretary of Defense has to approve it. He told me he was not allowed to request a support. And I asked him if he wanted me to share that, and he said, no. I can't even ask you for the support, is what he told me. But he did say, but if I do call you, will you be able to support me? I said, yes.
Capitol Police have been criticized for not being fully prepared for the January 6th insurrection, prompting several resignations. More than 300 people have been arrested in connection with the riots. A labor union which represents 20,000 workers in the D.C. area and Maryland is urging the state to prioritize frontline property service workers for the COVID-19 vaccine. SEIU Local 32BJ says that the District of Columbia and Virginia have already made moves in that direction, and it's asking Governor Hogan to do the same. The union says its members include office cleaners, building managers, engineers, and security guards who work at residential and commercial properties. A union spokesperson says his members cannot work from home and thus are essential.
The reality is that, I would say 95% of these workers are Black and brown folks, and we know what's happening in the Black and brown community, where people are, 3 times more likely to die from COVID than white folks. And that's because these people are working in high-risk jobs that are not sometimes seen as essential workers, but they are. And we think that they need to be made a priority to get the vaccine or to get in front of the line to get the vaccine.
SEIU is the nation's largest property service workers union. The Maryland Health Department reports 786 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours. This brings the state's total cases to more than 383,000. An additional 14 Marylanders have died from the virus. Meantime, hospitalizations have declined, with 863 residents currently in the hospital. President Joe Biden says the U.S. will have enough vaccine supply for every adult by the end of May. During a press conference yesterday, Biden called on states to prioritize teachers when it comes to vaccinations. Biden is now pushing for educators, child care workers, and school staff employees to receive at least their first dose of the vaccine by the end of March.
To help make this happen, starting next week and for the month of March, we'll be using our federal pharmacy program to prioritize the vaccination of pre-K through 12 educators and staff and child care workers. Throughout March, they will be able to sign up for an appointment at a pharmacy near them. Now, I want to be very clear. Not every educator will be able to get their appointment in the first week, but our goal is to do everything we can to help every educator receive a shot this month.
Meantime, Biden says that Johnson & Johnson has now partnered with its pharmaceutical competitor Merck to help expand the production of its one-shot vaccine. In other news, an overnight fire in Riverdale leaves 2 people displaced and their 2 pet dogs dead. It happened just before 2:30 at a house in the 5900 block of Jefferson Street. According to investigators, there were flames coming from the first floor of the home as firefighters arrived. The blaze was put out quickly. None of the people were hurt. The investigation into the cause continues. Well, several years ago, a housing investment trust fund was established in Prince George's County. It was created to support the rehabilitation, preservation, and construction of housing for low-income households or those living on a fixed income, but has never had a dedicated funding source to create affordable housing. Each year, it can vary from $0 in the account to several million. Now, a new bill before the County Council seeks to remedy that.
The Housing Opportunities for All plan that was put together by the County Council a few years ago from a consultant. They actually recommend we get the fund up to $80 million a year because that's the gap they see in the affordable housing needs here in Prince George's County. So the Housing Opportunities for All work group worked on it this year ago, made the recommendation that we should dedicate a portion of our recordation tax to support the Housing Trust Fund. And so the legislation that's moving through the County Council right now would do exactly that. So that's CB4 2021. It would set aside 20% of our recordation tax. And that's the tax that residents already pay actually when they're doing a real estate transaction here in Prince George's County. So when you purchase your home here in Prince George's County, there's a recordation tax that you're paying, and we would be dedicating a portion of those funds to be supporting affordable housing.
The legislation is expected to go before the full council in the next few weeks. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's so sad. It's not.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back. Well, Delegate Alonzo Washington wants to change the way auto insurance rates are set in Maryland under the current system, which he says discriminates against people of color and poor people. Insurers can use zip codes as part of their rate setting process. The result, says Washington, is black and brown people and the poor are charged higher rates because of where they live. Washington's legislation, House Bill 1251, would make that illegal and the system more equitable.
In Baltimore City and Prince George's County, we are subsidizing the rates, the lower rates for the rural counties in the state. We're paying a higher percentage, a higher rate of zip codes of car insurance in the state of Maryland, and that's just not fair. It's not equitable, and it's something that needs to change. And these auto insurance companies need to be held accountable. Similar
legislation was heard today before the Senate Finance Committee. The county is set to relaunch its emergency rental assistance program. Beginning tomorrow, landlords can apply for the program if their tenants have experienced a loss of income because of the pandemic. Tenants can also apply for funding if property managers are unwilling. The rental assistance will be paid directly to the landlords.
We'll be deploying $27 million of funding that the county received directly from the Treasury. And we are supplementing this with approximately $2.6 million of community block grant money that we received through the state of Maryland. It is an incredibly important tool to help people remain in stable homes during this crisis.
And for more information on the program, you can visit hcd.mypgc.us. New data shows the massive cost of COVID-19 has had on Maryland hospitals. The report by the Maryland Hospital Association lays out the operation costs, the hiring of new workers, and the numerous service costs that had to be altered in response to the pandemic. According to the Daily Record, in April alone, hospitals in the state saw operating margins decline by $200 million, while they spent an additional $70 million in capital in response to the virus. The largest costs were PPE, staffing, and costs associated with testing and vaccinations. Maryland holds a day of remembrance to commemorate the people who lost their lives during the pandemic. It will be held this Friday, March 5th, marking the anniversary of the first confirmed COVID case in the state. The governor's mansion, the State House, and other buildings will be lit up in amber. More than 7,700 Marylanders have died of COVID-19. Well, it pays to patronize your favorite local restaurant. EDC is hosting a new contest called Dine Prince George's. Every week until April, you can vote for a different county eatery. And your patronage and vote can bring up $3,000 to the winning restaurant.
We're encouraging residents to vote early and vote often for their favorite restaurant. Cash will come to the restaurants. They can use it for any of their expenses, COVID related or otherwise. And we're just hoping that it will encourage more residents to not only think about their restaurants, but also to go order out, order in, carry out Uber, DoorDash, all of that stuff.
You can nominate your favorite eatery by visiting pgcedc.com. Prince George's Library System is hosting a special event tonight with a world-renowned choreographer to the stars. Laurie Ann Gibson, known for working with Alicia Keys, Beyonce, and Lady Gaga, will discuss her new book. Entitled Dance Your Dance, Gibson uses her personal stories to encourage you to pursue your dreams. The virtual event will start at 7 p.m. live on the library's YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook pages. This discussion is part of a Women's History Month celebration hosted by the library system. Well, get ready to ride some roller coasters with your friends. Six Flags America is set to reopen this Saturday. All of the usual rides are available, including the 10 thrilling coasters. However, you can expect some changes due to COVID-19. Anyone 2 years and older has to wear a mask. There will be temperature screenings, and you'll need to register in advance.
And we've also added hand washing stations right on the midway. So there's a lot of places for people to clean their hands as they make their way. And then we also have our Super Clean team, who is dedicated solely to walking around the park throughout the day, sanitizing high touch points around restrooms and food facilities, as well as sanitizing our ride units on our coasters and rides throughout the park.
The park will be open every weekend through Memorial Day. Let's get a quick check now on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, clear with a low around 36. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 49 and a low of 27. Friday, sunny with a daytime high near 43 and an evening low around 28. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 45 and a low of 28 degrees. Now for your community calendar. The Banneker Douglas Museum is honoring courageous Black women throughout the month. This month's Black Woman of Courage is civil rights leader Gloria Richardson. Learn about the life and legacy of this Maryland-born freedom fighter during a dynamic presentation. The virtual event is Wednesday, March 10th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. For more information, visit bdmuseum.maryland.gov. And that is your CTV News Update. I'm Patricia Vallone. Have a great night.